finance, but in today's video I'm going to talk to you about how to get your Jamaican citizenship by descent, and I'm going to explain to you, if you're interested in personal finance, how getting dual citizenship can factor into your personal finance strategy. So stay tuned. The current situation has made it difficult to find a hairdresser. I just want to say that before I get started. And at the bottom, if you're just here for the personal financial aspects of how dual citizenship can help you out, there's going to be a link below where you can just skip to that part. Jamaican citizenship by descent is something I describe as very easy. I was able to complete the process. I had a minor hiccup. I'll get into that. What you're seeing right now is all the required documents, and you only have to go as far back as you need to. If your mother is Jamaican, you don't have to get your grandparents' stuff. Your mother's stuff will suffice. And if you're, let's say, you're half Jamaican, your father is just regular American, and your mom's Jamaican, you could put your father's info on the application that you get from the PICA website. I'll put a link to the website below from the PICA website, but you don't have to you don't have to get like his birth certificate and stuff. You just want to see like your mother's. And then here's the hiccup I got into. On my grandfather's birth certificate, it has his name listed properly. On my mother's birth certificate though, it has his name in reverse, where his middle name is at the place of his first name. So they wouldn't accept that because I'm not able to show lineage back to him, because they're seeing like this person, first name, middle name. It doesn't make sense to them, so they said I would have to go get her birth certificate changed because they couldn't accept that. So before you send anything in, make sure that all your documents are in order. Luckily for me, my grandmother's Jamaican too, so I just use her info. And there was another hiccup that I ran into because we weren't sure if she had any of her old IDs, because she never drove when she was in Jamaica. So she wasn't able to find her old passport. She wouldn't have any Jamaican IDs. So this is just hearsay. I asked the Jamaican consulate, the Jamaica embassy. They said that I could use like her USA passport, because her USA passport is going to say that she was born in Jamaica. So I don't know if that helps anybody out there. I didn't actually try it. We were able to find her Jamaican passport, but they told me that would work. So I would just say it's an easy process. I think the diaspora should give it a shot. It probably cost me like $120. And if I wanted to get my passport, it would be like another $120. And I asked them, and they said I could have done the process at the same time. So you would be able to send your application in for your citizenship by descent and your citizenship passport for being a Jamaican, your Jamaican passport. So that's pretty cool, and that was going to cost you probably like another $120. If you did it in Jamaica, it'd be like $200, but the extra $40 is for the mailing fees. And the process takes like 4 to 6 weeks to get your citizenship. So that's not bad. You can get a second citizenship in 4 to 6 weeks for $120. I've been looking into other citizenships, and to get a St. Lucia citizenship, it's gonna cost you like $100K or $100, which one you want to pay. But for everyone who's Jamaican, I think I won't say it's important, but it's something you should look into. It's a relatively easy process. You get to be connected to your family, go down your family tree. I learned a lot of interesting stuff about Jamaica, just especially for lots of us who grew up here. There's like, I don't know how to explain it, there's like a lack of connection to your ancestors for people who are like ADOSs. And we have like, of course we have like similar stuff in our history, but to be able to go back and say, hey, I could talk to this person, that person, and know at least another country outside of America where I can go back to and look at, that's kind of powerful, because a lot of people are looking for some type of connection. And if you have the ability to go set that in stone and maybe pass it on to your kids, because yeah, you know what's going on, but your grandkids might not know what's going on. So that's just my 2 cents on it. Again, I'm gonna show all the stuff that you need. You just mail in that stuff to the embassy. The embassy in DC is really nice, so if you're close to them, I handled everything by just mailing it in. I didn't have to go in and make an appointment. I'm handling everything right now during this crazy time, so I don't know if that's going to change, but I just mailed all the information in. They were so nice. It takes probably about a week before they mail it in, and it gets to the person whose desk it needs to get to, it takes like probably like 4 or 5 business days for all the documents to go in, because like I said, I sent everything in all at once, and I had the hiccup. So every time I had a hiccup, it took her like 5 days or so to get back to me about like she got the next level of documents. But they're super nice and they try and work with you. So if you're close to the DC consulate, I would say go ahead and do it, and then send your stuff to the DC consulate, because I know how they work. And everyone's super friendly there. And if you have a question, they'll answer your question. They'll try and help you out. And so that was pretty much it. So I got approved and all that. So I'm a Jamaican citizen. I'm just waiting on the paperwork in the mail to come in. So I'm really excited about that. Feel real connected to my, my people. And like I said, I think it's important. If you can do it, $100, $120, why not? Because this is something, who knows how long they're gonna do it. And in times of, calamity, it might be cool to be able to go bug out in Jamaica. There's worse places you could have free reign to live. You know what I mean? So I would just say the only thing, keep an eye on it, because right now it's like the United States and one random African country that taxes your worldwide income. I would say if Jamaica starts to try and tax your worldwide income, which I don't think they will, because lots of the diaspora lives in the United States. So like the United States is probably gonna, lack of a better word, bully them. Like, no, we got reign to the taxes. But that would be the only thing to consider. But make sure your country allows dual citizenship, depending on where you are. But in the United States doesn't care. When you're in the United States, you're a United States citizen. You can't run to the Jamaican consulate and be like, hey, I'm a Jamaican, protect me from the crimes I committed in the United States. So it's a relatively simple process. Put all your stuff in the mail. And then there's a quick tip before I go into the financial aspects of the dual citizenship. I want to say that every time I send something in, I wrote up a little paragraph or so about what's going on in here. Like I said, my name is X. I'm applying for citizenship through descent. I qualified through my grandparents. My mother is X. My grandfather is X. Here are all the documents, and then in the folder when I sent them in, I put all the documents, like all my mother's stuff, in one little paper clip. All my grandfather's stuff in one little paper clip. All my stuff in one little paper clip. Like, make it as easy for people to deal with your stuff as possible. And that's the only tip I have. So if you just want to know about the Jamaican citizenship by descent, straightforward, costs you $120. For all those people who are gonna get it, you might want to stay tuned. Before I get started, I want to say this applies to anyone who wants to be a dual citizen, not just people who are Jamaican and X citizens. So first things first, specifically the by descent citizenships, is that it's a lot cheaper than like doing a CBI and to get your foot in the door in the other countries. As you can see, the cheapest one I could find was $100,000, and I'm picking mine up for less than $300. So even if you think that passport is 5 times better than the Jamaican one, that would put the market value at $20,000. So I'm picking up something that you in your head basically think is worth $20,000, and I'm picking up for $300. That's one of the biggest benefits of citizenship by descent. Some of them are longer than others, but you can get a passport for basically free. It's basically free. It's just nominal fee. I would say it's definitely worth it. For that, if you're interested, because the paperwork and all that is worth it, because you save so much money. Even if it takes some time, all you had to do is find some paperwork, find some birth certificates. It's not really that great of a opportunity cost for you. Next thing is, at the end of the day, a passport is a travel document, and as you can see, Jamaica doesn't have the greatest travel document in the world. It's probably not number one on anybody's list. It's probably not in anyone's top 10. But even then, my little Jamaican passport gets me into countries that the United States can't get me into. It can get me into Russia, it can get me into Brazil. I'll probably never go to Russia, but Brazil, that's a country that's on the upswing right now. And if you had told me that I would have been investing in Colombia 5-10 years ago, I would have probably told you you're a liar. But I went there, saw how it was, enjoyed it, got to get involved into the culture, really experience it. I was like, hey, this is a great place to live. It might be a great place to invest. and it was. So I might go to Sao Paulo. I've been working on my Portuguese. I might go there, spend some time, and it might turn into a place that I'm investing in. You might see a video 2 years from now how my, Airbnb investment is doing in Rio de Janeiro. It's just going to open me up to some more opportunities because I now have the ability to travel there visa free and no frictionless travel. That's always better. And then another benefit, so this is the personal finance side, is diversification. If you live in the United States, you get paid US dollars. You probably bank in the US. If you own any real estate, it's probably all in the United States. So if something major happens in the United States, you're kind of screwed. So if you can diversify a little bit, own some property, now that it's easier because you're a citizen in that other country. If you can open a bank account, now that it's easier in that other country, it might be something that you want to consider. Because owning, some property in Jamaica to bug out is not the worst thing in the world. But something more financially inclined you might want to do is try and play in currency diversification. For example, Colombia, when the oil prices were real low because their dollars tied into their pesos tied into the oil prices, it went down to, or went up to the highest it's ever been, $4,200 for $1 US. So if you saw that and you saw that because oil prices went like almost negative for oil futures, you can say, hey, that's probably something that's not sustainable. I can convert some money into the Colombian peso, and then once the exchange rate gets better, I can take my money out and bring it back to the United States and make some money just by holding on to some money. So that's something that you can play in. I was thinking about doing that with the Jamaican dollar, but you gotta do your homework. See this? This is like big money, but this is not. This is $100. And this is troublesome because the Jamaican dollar, when it first came out, it was on a rate 2 to 1, almost 2 to 1 to the US dollar. Now it's like 145. So this is a rapidly decreasing against the US dollar, not a currency I want to hold. But this opens you up to open bank accounts in other countries. It'll be a lot easier being a citizen of that country. So if you can open a bank account with that passport, certain bank accounts have the ability to hold foreign currency. So you could park money in a Jamaican bank, let's say, with US dollars, with pounds, with whatever you want to put in there. So that gives you the option to do that. So that's something you might want to consider, even if you don't want to do the currency diversification play, because your ancestral currency isn't the best one to hold. Certain banks allow you to hold like British pounds and all that kind of stuff in their banks. So it's something you might want to consider. Also, you might want to consider it because it also gives you some security. It's harder to get money if it's overseas, like if you got sued. And if something were to happen in the United States, it's easier to make moves if all your money isn't tied up, or like, something happens, Bank of America freezes your bank account by mistake, you have some money overseas, and it's just better to have more money in more places. You can own real estate there. Some of the downsides though, besides the extra business opportunities it gives you, you now have to be worried about if the United States style taxation, worldwide taxation, is implemented by your country. Something I probably don't have to worry about, being Jamaican, small island nation. They don't really have the muscle to come after me through all over the world, because if you don't know, wherever you live as a U.S. citizen, you basically have to file a tax return no matter what. Every other country except for one, if you don't live there, you don't have to pay taxes there. But the UK might say, hey, the United States has a good thing going, let's do that. So that's like, if you're Canadian and a UK citizen, that's something you might have to worry about. But like some of these smaller countries, they don't really have like the financial clout to do something like that. So that's something, it has to be on your radar, but something you might not have to worry about. And then sometimes it might be some compliance issues, like the United States people, like if you don't know you have to file a tax return, you can get into some tax trouble. So there's some compliance issues, but I definitely think the benefits outweigh the negatives. Yeah, I was gonna say the benefits outweigh the good, but no, the goods outweigh the bad. So that's something I think you should definitely consider if you want to, diversify, protect yourself a little bit more. And the situation that just happened, rare, something like this probably won't happen again. Might be something similar, but this situation probably won't happen again. But imagine if you were only Italian when everything broke out, nobody wanted to take you anywhere. You know what I mean? That passport was kind of looked at like it was radioactive or had like something wrong with it. You know what I mean? No one wanted to touch you for a little while because of what was going on in your home country. You could have been living in Mexico for 10 years, but if all you had was a Italian passport, nobody wanted to take you across their border. So that's just something you might want to consider. I think it's over now. I think people are cool with Italians moving around, how they move around, but you might get into a situation where that U.S. passport gets, radioactive for a little while, and having another passport might, get you out of a bind. So it's just something to consider. I feel like for people who are interested in personal finance, having multiple citizenships is just another way to be freer, because you're not subject to the rules and laws of only one country. If one country gets like punitive taxes, like 90% taxes or something like that, you can expatriate, figure things out, and then get another second citizenship to balance your old one out. So I would say even if you have a weaker passport, it still might be worth it. Like my Jamaican passport, it might offer you benefits that you don't realize. Italian one, like you can move through the EU. Jamaican one, I can now work in any of the CARICOM full member nations. So there's other little benefits that having the second passport that you won't know until you start getting into it. And the paperwork is usually pretty easy. They just want to see like birth certificates and stuff like that. So this is Nick signing out. Hey, check in, put your flag in. I'm gonna put a Jamaican flag, check in, I want to see where you guys are from or where your ancestry leads. So if you're thinking about doing it, let me know. If you're thinking about not doing it, say why. Just, you guys got any comments on how you guys do it, just let people know, man. So this is Nick signing out. Thanks for checking in, and I'm a Jamaican now.